During the COVID-19 pandemic, governments, ministries of education, administrators, and teachers have been left to figure ways to teach students away from the classrooms. In the province of Ontario, schools were ordered to shut down and education continued through the use of the internet and technology. Online learning has become an important debate and possible approach amongst many and a viable option in times of crisis. Rethinking education in a time of crisis allows educators and institutions to critically and strategically use available and advanced resources. With the advancements of technology and education around the world, e-learning has become a topic of great debate and research amongst educators, institutions, and governments. The aim of this video is to investigate e-learning through synchronous and asynchronous teaching and learning environments, and the use of Bois-Siri AL's research framework as a viable approach to designing and implementing fully online courses, taking into account personal, environmental, and system dimensions and critical success factors such as student motivation, effective communication, and understanding human behavior and social flow in online education. Arbaugh and Duray define e-learning as users using the internet to learn specific content. Plenum defines e-learning as using modern information and communications technology and computers to deliver instruction, information, and learning content. Bois-Siri AL's framework is critical in the development of fully online courses, and the authors agree that e-learning is a useful tool for enhancing both the quality of teaching and learning. The authors share that e-learning is an innovative approach to education delivery via electronic forms of information that enhance the learner's knowledge, skills, and other performance. Asynchronous distance learning supports relations between students and the teacher separated by time and distance. The teacher-student interaction is facilitated through streaming media, emails, discussion boards, social media, and so on, and can reach a high phase of critical thinking since the students have more time to reflect, interact, and process the information. Synchronous learning provides real-time student-teacher interaction while resembling a face-to-face educational environment. Synchronous communication is performed online via video, audio conferencing, instant messaging, real-time collaboration, while live interaction with the teacher and immediate feedback support traditional pedagogies and different innovative methods for effective teaching and learning. Bois-Siri AL shares 3 dimensions to a successful e-learning framework. They take into account personal, environmental, and system dimensions. Personal dimensions take into account variables including learner and instructor characteristics and motivation. Prior studies indicate several important learner characteristics such as computer and internet self-efficacy, computer and internet experience, computer anxiety, and attitude towards e-learning. Previous studies found that an instructor's control of technology along with providing enough time to interact with students impacts learning outcomes. Relevant instructor characteristics include timely response, self-efficacy, technology control, focus on interaction, attitudes towards e-learning and the students, and distributive, procedural, and interaction fairness. Environmental dimensions take into account the e-learning environment. Sertan and Al share that a positive e-learning environment greatly contributes to e-learning success. According to Lennon and Marr, an e-learning environment is a setting where students are able to access online resources, use systems to access online curriculum and communication, and receive assessment. According to Cal, Griffin, and Bay, e-learning can provide opportunities for interactions, helping learners and instructors exchange information through synchronous and asynchronous communication and online assessment. According to Bois-Siri AL, online interactions amongst learners as well as between learners and instructors increase learners' participation in educational activities. According to Salem, instruction and university support are also critical elements of an e-learning environment. As shared by Bois-Siri AL, factors relevant for a positive e-learning environment include social influence, learners' perceived interaction with others, diversity in assessment, and perceived autonomy support. System dimensions take into account infrastructure and system quality, course and information quality, and institution and service quality. The design of a system through which e-learning takes place, according to Daft and Lango, should help drive formative interactions, control organizational activity, and helps provide correct and sufficient information to reduce uncertainty. The quality of a system is associated with the learner's beliefs regarding e-learning performance characteristics. As Bois-Siri AL shares, system quality is measured by functionality, ease of use, reliability, flexibility, data quality, portability, integration, and importance. A learner's satisfaction is greatly influenced and affected by the quality of the system and the beliefs of the learner. Factors that are relevant for infrastructure and system quality as shared by Brophy AL include internet quality, facilitating conditions, reliability, ease of use, system functionality, system interactivity, system response, and equipment accessibility. A meaningful online learning experience is facilitated by a well-designed course, curricula, and content. According to Dillon and McLean, information quality is measured in terms of accuracy, timeliness, completeness, relevance, and consistency. According to Sharma and Kitchens, the process of online learning is greatly influenced by curriculum and teaching resources. Brophy AL shared that information quality has a strong positive effect towards learner satisfaction, where characteristics of information quality include content relevance, course quality, and course flexibility. Service quality is defined as the overall support delivered by the e-learning system to the learners who use the system. It is measured by 5 dimensions: tangibles, reliability, responsiveness, assurance, and empathy. Part of building a successful e-learning module and framework is making sure students are kept motivated both in synchronous and asynchronous learning. Brophy AL emphasized that motivation is a key concern for online instruction, as attrition rates remain relatively high for online learning. Motivation is divided into 2 categories: intrinsic and extrinsic. According to Deci and Ryan, intrinsic motivation results from within the learner themselves. This refers to the internal drives that may inspire the learner, driven by their own interests, values, and their personal sense of morality. On the other hand, extrinsic motivation is when a learner behaves a certain way based on an external source and results in an external reward. Some of these sources may include grades, evaluations, awards, or earning the respect of fellow peers and teachers. Factors essential to capture e-learning motivation include individual attitude and expectations, setting challenging goals, perceived enjoyment, which relates to intrinsic motivation, and perceived usefulness, which relates to extrinsic motivation, clear direction, reward and recognition, punishment and regulation, social pressure, and competition. Effective communication is an integral component of successful teaching and student learning. It is even more critical in online learning. Communication is a process, sometimes intangible and ever-changing. There is no doubt that by building positive and successful communication strategies, we yield better learning results and relationships with those involved in the process. Using a model for communication can have significant positive effects in the process of designing and implementing an online course. Let's discuss the possible use of Tubbs' communication model in online education. The Tubbs and Moss module uses 2 communicators, the sender and the receiver, through various communication channels set out by the board, school, or department. These communications can be verbal or nonverbal in nature. Brett's research concludes that effective communication in online education begins with an understanding of human communication and the difference between teaching in a face-to-face and online environment. Training is essential for newly hired faculty as well as seasonal online instructors. Faculty guidelines are needed to provide expectations relating to communication. Recognizing that online education can be very text-driven, it's important that faculty integrate diverse communication strategies into online courses to engage and connect students as active participants. While communication training is essential to developing effective communication skills, faculty must introspectively examine their own style of communication. Human behavior is quite critical to understand in order to design and implement online learning. One way to understand this is through the social cognitive theory, which analyzes human behavior, attempts to predict human action, and develops a clear understanding of changes in human behavior. The theory helps to explain the relationship in how personal factors, environmental factors, and behavioral factors influence each other, and presumes that higher outcome expectations and self-efficacy determine individual decisions, actions, levels of efforts, and strategies to use in any situation. According to Brophy AL, self-efficacy refers to an individual's belief in their own abilities, which has shown to significantly affect outcome expectations, behavior intention to use, and actual technology usage. Social flow, a concept framework that extends Csikszentmihalyi's flow theory, may help us to partially explain the triggering mechanism of collaborative mobile learning and help sketch out what triggers an optimal learning experience in collaboration and what can be additionally achieved in collaborative learning experiences. Rue and Parsons share an important point in that the best learning moments usually occur when a learner is stretched to the limit in a voluntary effort to accomplish something challenging and worthwhile, consistently generating flow experience that sustains the learner's efforts. Flow is a holistically controlled feeling where one acts with total involvement or engagement with a particular activity, with a narrowing focus of attention. It means an internal mental state of absolute absorption or engagement with an activity, which we assume results in the best user-learner experience. From a mobile learning perspective, it implies that in order for learners to experience flow while engaged in a mobile learning activity, they must perceive a balance between their skills and the challenges of the activity, which should present them with playful interaction, exploratory behavior, and positive subject experience. Only when this condition is met can an individual achieve an internal cognitive state where they have control over a challenging activity, or at least one that is not boring, and feel enjoyment and satisfaction in performing it. Discussing success factors for both synchronous and asynchronous learning and covering major influences to student and instructor success in the e-learning environment, specifically regarding effective communication, motivation, and human behavior in online education, allows us to rethink our approach to designing online education. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more educational material created by an educator for educators.